Hello fellow travelers, I'm Big Dame 420, and today I'm going to show how I build my interpretation of the F-117 Nighthawk in No Man's Sky on PS4. Now here's what it looks like without the wings. They're built out of panels in a specific way, so they have to be built at the end. And this thing is pretty dense, so it can get a little complicated at times, but I've tried to make it as simple as I could. I went ahead and listed all the parts this uses. Gonna need a couple walkways to build with, a rock hopper prop, a ducting outlet, and the ship uses one mag field, a couple of walkways, one Thunderbird cockpit, one ambassador landing bay, one Medusa, one Zenith, one Azimuth, two ambassador sublight thrusters, two weapons, two Arcadia S-foils, 8 Argonaut airfoils, 4 turbine airfoils, 2 Super Cruise airfoils, 1 Super Cruise cowling, 6 Arcadia stabilizers, 4 Arcadia blades, 2 firebox fairings, 2 Speedbird fairings, 2 Speedbird nacelles, 4 Vesper diffusers, 2 Vesper cowlings, 2 hardframe diffusers, and 1 hardframe cowling. Now let's go into build. And I gotta make this thing disappear real quick. Start off by grabbing our landing gear and then selecting the color. I like to use gray and dark gray metallic finish, makes a nice solid black. And we put this in the middle and we grab whatever walkway you want to use. I like the ambassador. Snap it to the top of that. Now we need to grab a ducting outlet, put it on the front of that walkway, and move that walkway forward and down. Now move the landing gear 2 blocks forward, delete that, and copy another walkway on top. On front of that goes the cockpit. And now I want to add our thrusters onto here, so I need to grab a ducting outlet, snap it to the back of our bottom walkway and move it down and back. Now a thruster on each side of that walkway. Then this can get moved back where it was, and our landing bay can go on the back. Now to add a couple of the reactors, we need a walkway underneath the cockpit, and then we grab a rock hopper prop, snap it to this side of that, and move that walkway half a block back. Now we grab a Medusa, snap it to the front of that walkway, and it clips into our landing gear. Get rid of the walkway for now, and then we grab an Azimuth, put it under our cockpit. Next I want to hide the weapons inside these thrusters. So we need to grab another walkway, snap it in between where the thrusters go. I'm at a bad angle to show that. Come forward with that, and grab that back one, move it to the side. Now this needs to go half a block back with a rock hopper prop. And then whatever weapon you want can snap on the top of that walkway. Now we move this middle walkway to snap to the side of that, so we can grab this and come to the other side, place the other weapon. Now I want to start working on the nose. This walkway can get moved back to the back of the Medusa and come out to the side. Now we need a ducting outlet. Put it on the front of the walkway and move it forward and sideways towards the middle of the ship. Now we can put our turbine airfoils on the front. Now we need an Arcadia blade. And snap it to the side of the azimuth reactor. And then grab an Arcadia stabilizer and snap it to the side of the walkway that we left in the middle. Now this walkway needs to move half a block back, so we need a rock hopper prop. Stick it to the side, move that half block back. Now a couple Arcadia stabilizers snap to the front of that for each side. The prop can go, and we need this walkway to come all the way out over here, and I believe this is snapping onto the side of the gun. Now we need to be one walkway behind that, and I just use a rock hopper prop, but it's not needed. And now we can stick turbine airfoil on the front of that walkway. Get rid of those. And then finish out the nose. Grab a stabilizer, and make sure you delete this walkway after you get those stabilizers on. Grab a blade, copy it over. And now inside here we need our firebox fairings. And they're actually snapping to the back of the turbine airfoils. Need another airfoil on the other side. Now I'm going to add all the Argonaut airfoils. So we need this side of our top walkway and a ducting outlet. Put it on the front. Move this forward and down. And then it needs to be half a block back. So rock hopper prop. Then we can move that. And on the front of there goes our Argonaut airfoil. And then the walkway needs to go up and back. So ducting outlet on the top. Move it up and back. And another Argonaut. Now we can take this walkway and snap it to the inside of those to copy them into the other side. Now there's still more to put in front of the cockpit, so we need a walkway, and that's actually snapping to the top of the landing gear. And this needs to go forward and sideways. Now an Argonaut snaps to the side. With another one on the back of that. And then copy them to the other side. Moving on to the back, need a walkway snap to that lower Argonaut. And then we snap a Speedbird fairing to the back of the walkway. And we move this walkway half a block back with a prop. And a Speedbird nacelle on the back of that. Now we can put these on the other side. I'm moving this walkway to the inside of each of these. Now we need to be one walkway back from here so that we can put a couple of Arcadia blades. Now the walkway needs to go back and sideways, so ducting outlet on the back, and back and sideways. Now we're trying to set up two walkways back here diagonal from each other so that we can put the S-foils. So put another one on this side. Then grab a rock hopper prop. And move this half a block back. I moved it too far here. And move this front one half a block forward, so that we can stick in our S-foils on each side. Can get rid of that walkway and move this one forward one. Now we'll be putting this right back here in a second, but for now it needs to be half a block forward. So rock hopper prop on the side. Now we put Arcadia stabilizers on the back of that. Now we move this back where it was. But now it needs to be down and sideways. So ducting outlet on the side, then down and sideways. Now on the inside of that, we need a Vesper cowling upside down. In front of that Vesper goes our hard frame cowling. Now I want to stuff a Zenith reactor in here, so we need a walkway in between our Speedbird fairings. Then a Zenith snap to the back of that. Now we need to put in another Vesper cowling that snaps in between the Arcadia blades. Grab a walkway again, snap to the back of our top walkway, and it needs to be half a block sideways, so we need to go back and sideways, and then half a block forward again. Now our last couple of Vesper diffusers go up here. I almost forgot about the Super Cruise aerofoils that fill these little gaps in here. And the last piece is our Super Cruise cowling, and it just snaps to the back of the walkway to break up the texture a little bit. And that should be the whole ship portion of this build. But now we need to fly this thing down to a planet so that we can build the wings. And you'll also need the panels from the anomaly, and if you're in a normal mode, a lot of ferrite dust and sodium. Gotta build some stairs to get inside. Any planet with land should work with this, because we're just trying to land this thing on top of a little hill so that we can see the underside, to be able to build a couple of platforms out of panels to build our actual wings on top of. Now we just go outside and go into the build menu, and as long as you're within the radius of the Corvette, it should edit the Corvette. And grab a panel, make it as big as possible. And we're just looking to make any type of platform to be able to build on top of. I just try to make it the vague shape of the wing that we're going for. So this is what I go for when I'm making these platforms, and we need one on each side. Once I've got both of those platforms built, I like to fly this thing back up into the space station to build the actual wings. Now there's nothing stopping you from doing it right there on the planet, but I like to use the circle and all the lights on the floor as kind of a reference to match up both wings. Now that we have our platform, we just pick a side and start building the actual wings. Now I start with a flat panel, and I make it as big as possible, and just place it down in the middle somewhere, because we're going to gauge how big to make our storage panels off of that. I like to make them almost touching the top. And I go to the front to try to line this up as perfectly as possible with the edge. I usually adjust this piece quite a few times to get it decently straight. Now this will get extended out to be 5 panels long, and to line them up, I clip one section of each panel into each other and use those little dots to line it up straight. Now the back of the wing can get kind of tricky to line up properly, but you kind of just have to pick an angle and extend it out to see if it works right. There's a little wiggle room with this, but somehow I got it pretty much perfect on the first try. And when extending the back, I clip this second panel in this far, almost halfway. And then one more clipped in the same as the front. Now to fill in the end here, I take some smaller storage panels and just make it big enough to bridge the gap. And in here I just make a flat panel and just kind of fill the gap. And then I just do that again on top of those. Then when you're happy with the outline of the wing, you just fill in the rest with the large panels. Now that's the shape of wing that I go for. and black and yellow on these to make them black. Now, making both wings actually match each other can be kind of difficult, so I would leave these platforms in until you're happy with both wings. But I just want to show that if they're clipped into each other enough, all the panels stay. And now just need one more wing. Now there's not much interior space, and it's not the fastest, and doesn't fly the greatest, but I think it looks pretty cool at least. And anyone that's made it here, whether you're just here to watch or you're gonna build it, thank you and have a good one.